Are we going?
We are?
Welcome to the All Things BMX show. I am your host, Justin. This is episode 34, Tech Talk, with our special guest, George Costa from Rennen Design. Chris, are you ready?
Oh, yeah, we're ready. Totally ready.
I hope you are ready.
Ready to rock and roll.
It's a long time coming. Finally getting George on the show. We're happy you're here. I am your host, along with Chris.
What
are you looking at me for?
Pauses. What's am I gonna say?
Typically, we insert some part where I talk.
This would be the helicopter joke or the llama. Or...
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. We all know you've been wrestling llamas, so.
Even your wife says so.
Yeah,
now.
she does.
We got Shelly in on it.
She did give me a little. What?
Yeah.
Business on the helicopter thing the other day out at the state race.
Yeah, she did. I mean, I appreciate you taking time away from your busy schedule of your UFC training to join us here at the All Things BMX show. We got Paul in studio this week. He's here.
Yeah.
Hey.
Mr. Paul Remington's in the house.
So we had to sound on point. No excuse.
I hope so. And we have our video engineer hanging to my right, your left. We have Jason. How are you? There he is. There he is.
How are we doing, Jason?
Good.
All
there
right.
he is, hanging out, taking care of all things on there. And we got we have Chuck across the state handling all things IT over there at the West Michigan BMX headquarters. Chuck. We want to thank, Charlie.
Yeah.
It's short for Chuck, you know.
I know. I'm not used to that. He goes to me, Charlie. I know.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Sitting behind Chris and I, we have the beautiful producer, Melissa. How are you this evening?
I'm excellent.
Doing good? All
Good.
right.
We are glad you are here with us, and she'll be handling all things social media this evening. So if you guys got a question for George, or you just want to talk trash, get in the chat and let us know, man. We love it. We got an action-packed show this evening. We're going to talk all things BMX with George. He is joining us on the Mighty Mo's BMX Cruise video line. If you guys haven't done it yet, make sure you guys book your room. Is it a room?
Cabins.
Cabin. What is it on a
Cruise
what is that?
cabins, yeah.
I mean, it's
Cabin.
a boat.
Cabins.
You're
Yeah.
on a boat.
Now
so
they call it a cabin.
Okay. It's a good thing you guys know because I don't. But I mean,
Don't you worry, babe. It's all taken care of.
I'm going to be there just trying not to look and not see the shore. So make sure you guys get on that BMX cruise with Mighty Mo. It's going to be a great time. We've got another Jeremy Ames voicemail segment this week. And as always, we're going to discuss the news, rumors, and gossip, and all things that make up BMX. And our opening is brought to you by Nate's Painting. So, hey,
Speaking of
him, man, he won the gate.
He won the gate. Yeah, our
was
big
pretty awesome,
giveaway
man.
last week on the show. Yeah,
Yeah, he did.
Nate's Painting. Nate won the gate.
So,
Was he able to pick that up? Did we get that
Yeah,
over to
he
him at
snagged
the
it.
state race? the other
yeah,
day?
he did.
Cool.
Yep, he picked it up out there at the Michigan State Championship. So
All right. Well, I
it's
guess
time to get your.
We'll be talking about that in a little bit.
No, yeah, because he'll be putting his time in, and he'll be fast. So we want to thank our opening sponsor and say it's time to get your frosty beverage. Time to get one of those Mandingo pickles. And don't be late for the gate. Chris, tell them where they could listen to the show.
All right. Welcome to the show, everybody. Thanks for stopping by. Make sure you like us on Facebook. Our Facebook feed is live. It is sponsored by our friends at Heavy Pedals BMX Zine. You can also catch us live on YouTube, which is sponsored by T-Bone BMX. We're also on Twitter Periscope, which is sponsored by Holly Power Sports. So make sure you like and share Facebook. Make sure you subscribe to YouTube. Again, we're trying to grow our YouTube so that we come up in that search engine. When folks are searching BMX, they pick up our show. That would be where we're going with that. So if you could help us out, subscribe to YouTube. We'd appreciate it. You can also check out our audio-only podcast version of the show. You can get that on Buzzsprout, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and anywhere else you download your podcast from. The podcast is sponsored by our good friends at Gate 9 Custom Number Plates.
I heard he's making jerseys now.
And if you're looking for a custom jersey, get a hold of Billy over at Gate 9. He will design you up something real similar to our All Things BMX show race team jersey we got going on over here. But give those folks a call. If you're looking for a plate for your team, for yourself, get a hold of Billy over at Gate 9 Custom Plates. He'll take care of you. And as always, we would love to hear from you. If you have any news, information, event going on at your track, email the show at allthingsbmxshow@gmail.com. Let us know what you got going on. Get in the chat. Let us know where you're watching the show from in the chat. And if you have any questions, Melissa will let us know.
Maybe. I do screen for content in case anybody hadn't already figured that out.
Right.
Perfect.
Keep it clean.
No,
Nice,
no,
or-
no.
I don't know what the word is.
We're gonna hit our
Polite.
first sponsor commercial break, and when we come back, we're gonna be talking our tech talk this evening. So
Yeah,
we're gonna go
we'll be-
listen to our friends over at RSVP.
RSVP Wedding and Event Designs. Anything you can imagine under the sun for your wedding, corporate event, parties, or even private events. Winner of the prestigious Best of Weddings by The Knot. Family owned and operated by some really cool BMXers. Call them now, 248-301-5522, and tell them that the Michigan BMX Podcast Show sent you.
All right.
Welcome back. Thanks to RSVP Wedding and Events for sponsoring the show. If you're looking for a corporate event for your company, if you have a wedding, give the folks at RSVP Wedding and Events a call, and they will take care of you.
So here we are hanging out with our big famous guest this evening. George, how are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Doing great.
Doing good, man. Thanks for bearing with us through the pre-show warm-up and all the cussing and swearing and yelling at each other. We appreciate your patience.
Things get a little heated on here right
you know.
before we go on, for sure.
We appreciate you taking time and joining us this evening. How are things over in Massachusetts?
We're just busy. So the whole COVID bike craze seems to be pretty accurate, and we're just trying to keep up with orders. So
It's good.
Good. Business is good then.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
It's kind of weird with limited racing happening around the country. People are buying bike parts like crazy. So,
Well, that's a good thing then. That's awesome.
Yeah.
We'd like to start out with a question we ask all of our guests is, how did you find the sport of BMX? How did you get involved and become part of the sport of BMX bike?
For me, it was BMX Plus magazine. So
Okay.
when I was a kid, when I was real young, I had a paper route. That was my first job. And, with my money that I could spend, I would go up to this little newsstand back when there was some convenience stores that all they sold was magazines. And I went up there and just found BMX Plus in 1987, I think.
Okay.
And started buying it every month and reading it cover to cover, and just really got into it that way. And then noticed that there were track listings and that there were tracks in the area, and the closest one to me was one in East Greenwich, Rhode Island, called Rocky Hill, and that's where I did my first BMX race and got started with the sport.
How long before you started racing? So you were picking up the magazine and checking that out, but how long were you doing that before you started racing?
I was probably buying magazines for a solid year or two before I actually started racing. I think I first raced in 1989.
Great.
So.
Okay. Awesome. So let's see, when you were racing, was it, were you on a bike shop team, anything like that? Or was just, you just did your own thing, or how did that kind of work?
I raced up to 1994, and then I went to college. But the only sponsor I ever really had was a local bike shop, who I ended up working at the bike shop. So it was called Westport Bicycle, and we had a couple of fast Northeast riders. But I don't remember back then team competition being what it is like nowadays, even though it did exist and stuff. It's just we just had a team just to have a team, and would go to nationals and regionals and whatnot, and
Great.
So
okay.
Where did you go to college, George?
I went to University of Massachusetts Dartmouth for my undergraduate degree and in mechanical engineering, and I went to MIT for my master's degree.
No kidding.
And my master's degree is in mechanical engineering, but my thesis is in fluid mechanics. So kind of.
That sounds fancy.
Weird.
It sounds fancy.
Fluid mechanics.
Yes.
Hydraulics and that type of stuff, eh?
That's your
Actually,
your wheelhouse,
hydrodynamic
isn't it?
lubrication. So.
Yeah.
See, I was going water.
Yeah.
Exactly.
My master's research was actually for Caterpillar Corporation.
Oh,
So
nice.
They fully funded my master's, and we worked on a particular part of it's called a face seal, but it's a metallic seal. So unlike the kind of seals that we think about in BMX, where you have like a rubber lip sitting on a metal edge, in the construction industry they have these things called face seals, which are two metal plates that sit really, really close together, and when they start moving, they separate from fluid pressure, and that's called hydrodynamic lubrication, and that's what my master's research was on. So
Okay.
Very nice.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Little over my head, but that's all right. That's cool
it's a
stuff.
little over mine too.
It's like pretty much over all of us in here, okay?
Collectively together.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, Paul says he knows all exactly what you're talking
No, you
about.
don't. No, you don't. Stop lying, Paul.
Oh, that's
I
funny.
did write
cool.
I think my thesis was like 70 pages, and it's published in the MIT library, so people could check it out if they want.
That's awesome.
There you go.
That is
So
very
you
cool.
go Google that, eh?
Hey, being
Yeah.
published is
That's a big deal, man.
Yeah,
That is
100%.
that is a pretty big deal, for sure. Okay, so obviously you didn't start making BMX parts. So were you working for CAT? Were you working for them at the time, or?
No, after I got my master's, I I had decided I wasn't going to stay for a PhD because it's kind of an abyss at MIT. You could be there for 3 years, you could be there for 10 years and not have your PhD yet. So I didn't want to devote that kind of time. I ended up taking a job at a defense contractor called Draper Laboratory, and they were an MIT lab in like the 50s, and they shot off and created this non-for-profit, but it's a legit defense contractor. Their claim to fame is the inertial navigation system for the Trident Mark 6 nuclear missile, and I was hired into the Navy group. That's my responsibilities were computer models of the electronic systems in that navigation unit, and basically putting them through simulations for heat and stress and vibration and stuff like that. And I was there for 6 years, so half of my time I spent doing a lot of computer simulations. It's called finite element analysis. So it's something that we use now here at Rennen to test parts and stuff without actually testing them in the real world. But you run through simulations on the computer and you can see your results and kind of tweak things. The other half of my time at Draper was spent designing robotics. So there's a couple of vehicles there that I was involved with, but the coolest one and kind of the best one was a robotic snake. So we won a $5 million contract from DARPA to develop a robotic snake that was about 6 feet long with 32 degrees of freedom. So basically it had essentially 32 motors that we had to coordinate and everything, but I was the lead mechanical for that whole project. Whoa. And also a lot of the concept generation and a lot of the vehicle, the rest of the teams had to follow what I was putting forth in the mechanical design. So that was a lot of fun.
So what exactly do you do with the robotic snake?
So it was DARPA funds all kinds of things, and it's sort of the thing where they want to push the envelope and see what is possible to do with these kind of vehicles.
Okay.
So it was a contest basically that was issued, and it had, I think there was like 6 teams that were awarded, and there was all these challenges, like one of them you had to climb a pole with the vehicle, and it had, whoever went the highest obviously was pointed the highest, and then there was all kinds of things that you had to do. But in the way that we approached it was we really tried to make a snake. Like we had something that was legit. It looked like a big boa constrictor, because it was about 4 inches in diameter, and it was 6 feet long, and it was pretty cool. It could sidewind across the ground like a real snake. We could climb stairs, which was kind of a interesting task.
Oh, sure.
But a lot of the other challenges were really difficult, especially like climbing a pole and stuff. And what we ended up finding when we went down to the competition was that all these teams that were awarded, they just looked at the rules and said, how can we cheat? Or how can we achieve the task without like fully violating the rules?
The rules,
and, So, and we didn't do that. We tried making a vehicle that stuck true to being like a real snake. Like one of them was like get across 15 meters as fast as possible. Well, for us, we put the vehicle in sidewinding motion, and the thing sidewinded across the ground, but it's not very fast. So, it is what it is. But one of the teams that went there had these like wheel attachments that they would bolt on for.
Oh, jeez.
Let's see, wheels plus motor.
With a whole bunch of wheels on it, and it just drove across, which was kind of stupid. But it's part our fault, and part just not realizing what some of these DARPA challenges, what the goal is. So
right.
And then whoever won, basically, DARPA goes and awards like the second phase, and the second phase was I think the first phase that we won was like a $5 million contract. The second phase might have been like 10 or 20. And then like phase 3 is when they try to like integrate it into like a real product for the military. But ideally, if you could develop a snake-like vehicle and you could really miniaturize it, let's say, you could penetrate any building anywhere in the world, because the one thing that is unobstructed in almost every building around the world universally is the sewer system. So you could literally put your snake robot in the shit pipe and have it come out the toilet and
oh my God.
I'm not saying like
go, figure out what you need to figure out. So
That's pretty wild stuff.
what was crazy was there was a show, I can't remember what the name of it was, but it was like it was one of these like Pentagon kind of shows.
Sure.
And they had an episode where that happened, and there was like a terrorist situation. They brought in this, and we were actively like developing this robot, right? And we all come into work one day and we all like are watching this episode, and the military calls in this robotics company, and this like nerdy guy shows up with like a little briefcase, and he pulls out this little sausage looking thing and he puts it in the sewer pipe, and it comes out the toilet, and it starts like looking at the terrorists inside the building and everything. And we were just sitting there like, man, this sucks, because this is what, like, somebody at DARPA is going to see this and expect that this is what we're going to be doing as an actual vehicle, and ours is like super clunky and in comparison, but
Right.
How funny.
so,
That's pretty wild stuff, though, that I wouldn't have a clue where to start with something like that. But yeah.
Billy in the chat
Yeah.
says he's never using the toilet again.
never saw that.
yeah, there was a lot of weird things that they did there. They were the robotics group there was pretty cool. They did a lot of it's called biomimetic inspired robotics. So my boss, she was at MIT, and for her PhD thesis, she studied tuna propulsion, I guess, like how a tuna propels itself in the water. But she ended up building a robotic tuna, and then Draper, when she hired on, they built a legit like 800-pound tuna, and it was all hydraulically powered, and again, something sponsored by DARPA.
So
that
it's
was
like
before my time there, but it was always in the lab, so it was cool to see.
it's kind of like James Bond kind of
Yeah,
stuff,
I was just
right?
thinking no
Dude,
secrets hid anywhere.
My mind is
Yeah,
blown.
well, all the stuff I'm talking about is obviously not classified, or else I'd
well,
get in
right.
trouble.
Right.
We assumed.
Great. Now we're
Yeah.
going to have the government calling us.
They're already,
They're
Chris, they're already
watching.
after you.
Oh, they're looking
Trying to
at
figure
me.
out how you got so many alpacas and helicopters, man.
Yeah. Sure.
Well, one of the other things that we did, or that I did, it was on a smaller scale, but we developed a really small flapping wing airplane. So it was very, very small, very, very light, and it was just to test flapping wing propulsion, again, to, if you put a camera on it or something, and you see this thing flapping around outside, you're less likely to think that it's,
Okay.
somebody spying on you, I guess.
So your first thing you're thinking is bird.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
So, and
obviously.
from far away, you really can't tell that it's an RC airplane, essentially.
So you
But
you made
that
a
was a lot of fun too.
you made a drone
bird.
that looks like a bird.
Yeah.
That flaps
Yeah.
its wings.
Yeah.
Well,
Like a
I'll
bird.
remember that next time I'm looking out the window.
So yeah, those are the kinds of things I used to do. And then,
Yeah.
but to be honest, like working in a big company like that, it gets very it's just too corporate. Like you can't really accomplish anything. There's always meetings, and there's project management charts, and
Nah.
forecasting for this and forecasting for that, and
We're gonna have
I'm
a
not that
conference
kind of
call.
person.
We're gonna have a conference call at 2.
For the conference call.
For the conference call that is going to happen at 4, that can be summarized with a text message, right?
Yeah, it drives me absolutely nuts, because that's
Oh,
not
God.
what I'm like. I am
Right.
about like, okay, let's go out in the shop,
Do it.
let's build it.
Mm-hmm.
The hands-on
let's
part.
go test it, That's what I like to do.
Sure.
And there it was way too many meetings and way too much stuff. And a lot of people who would make decisions that weren't necessarily, they weren't making the best decisions, and a lot of the stuff ended up backfiring, and there was a lot of I told you so's. So the day that I left, I didn't, my boss actually was pretty surprised, and I put my resignation letter in, and she said, well, and I told her what I was doing because this was 2006. I said, yeah, I'm starting a bike company and I'm making BMX parts. And they said to me, well, the door's always open here if you ever want to come back, if your venture doesn't work out. And I told her, I said, thank you for the offer, but if I accept that, I'm pretty much accepting that I'm going to fail at this. So
for sure,
I'm not thinking in that, capacity right now.
I'm just dying to know how like robotic snakes and flapping drones leads into BMX manufacturing.
That's where I was going to go to.
I get you raced before, but how do you conceptualize and sort of transition like that?
Well, basically, from 1994, my very last race that I ever did. Well, I raced 89, I think it was my first year. 1990 was really like 89. I raced like once or twice at the end of the season. 1990 was I really put everything into trying to learn how to race, and I went from beginner to expert in one season at my local track. I won. My local track would give out at the awards banquet like Rookie of the Year, and I was Rookie of the Year at my local track. And then 1991, I really put everything into state series, and I wanted to come away with #1 Massachusetts, #1 Rhode Island. I ended up missing a bunch of Massachusetts races, ironically, because I live in Massachusetts. But the Rhode Island track was easier to get to, and the series was easier to participate in. So I ended up doing the Rhode Island series and raced against my good friend, who at the time we were friends, but he was definitely like my nemesis. Funny thing is, it's a guy who ended up racing for me in later years, in the Answer Rennen years. His name's Dave Maltesos, but he was super fast. Like literally, we'd go to nationals and he'd be battling Robin Miranda and Randy Stumphauser for wins and stuff. And he was always like #2 nationally, #3 nationally, but locally, him and I would go back and forth. And in 92 or 91. I think it was 91 or 92. Him and I went at it in the state series, and it came down to we were tied going into the main. Whoever won the main was going to get the state title, and I won the main. I ended up with the state title. It's probably like my biggest accomplishment, to be honest, because it was so hard to beat him. So I ended up doing that the next year. So that must have been 92, because 93 I did a national year and raced a bunch all over the East Coast. Ended up being, I think I came in just NBL. I was ranked national number 16 in 20 inch, which would have been, I think, 16 expert, and 8 in cruiser, 16, 17 cruiser. And then that year qualified me for 1994 for the World Championships. And the only race I did in 1994 was the World Championships at Waterford Oaks.
Yeah.
All right.
I was actually talking to Justin last night and showed him the number plates and
okay, so
from that race.
That explains why he had my friends, the boys and girl over here down on the table.
Yeah. So that was my last race, and that was 1994, and
well,
I
that's a
graduated
hell of a way to
school.
go out.
And I did horrible there, but
graduated
high school, started at UMass Dartmouth, and I really was just going to forget about bikes altogether, because I was the kind of focus I put into BMX, I put into school, and I put everything I could into it. And my sophomore year, I ended up getting an engineering internship job at Titleist and FootJoy. So I worked with the aerodynamicist there for 3 years or so, and I used to drop golf balls in a wind tunnel, which was a whole lot of fun.
Wait, what?
I was gonna say. So you said aerodynamics and Titleist. I'm like, it's got to be golf balls.
Yeah. There was like Titleist at the time was like a 50. I think they had about 50 people in R&D, and they had one guy who was the aerodynamicist, and he put
What
out
a
a
title.
job for a local like engineering intern to basically work the wind tunnel all summer. And I think it was 1995. It must have been 1995. The summer of 95, I dropped 3,000 golf balls in a wind tunnel. So you get sick of that pretty fast.
What?
That goes on the resume. Number 1.
Yeah.
Guess
So
what
that
I
was pretty
did?
funny. But I ended up asking them if I could do other things there.
I can't
and
imagine why.
They let me just hang out and like design and build stuff, and I'd make little fixtures and assist when I could. I worked production lines there, and they had like prototyping production lines and stuff. Work with some of the chemists on helping them in the process of actually assembling a golf ball. And then I think it was my junior year, there was a machine that was in R&D that they had ironically hired a MIT grad to design and build, but the machine would take retroreflective tape and it would punch holes through the tape and apply these dots to the golf ball, because they have a high-speed stroboscopic testing system there, and
Holy cow!
They
Does this
needed
make sense to you?
thousands of golf balls dotted.
I'm barely hanging in there.
Yeah,
Like
Mike-
my
basically they had a
Microscopic.
camera system that took 1,000 frames a second, but it
Wow.
did it with strobe lights,
Jesus.
and they would capture all these images as the golf ball was hit, and these little dots that they would put on the golf ball would reflect the light back. So they would collect a few images in the initial impact of the golf ball, and from those images they could determine backspin, launch velocity, launch angle, side spin, like really
Holy
cool,
cow.
all kinds of really cool stuff. But they didn't have a good way of putting these stickers on a golf ball. So that ended up being like a common summer student job for like anybody who worked there. Basically, it was advertised like their kids, like if they had like college age kids that were home for the summer, they could just come to R&D and sit in a room with thousands of golf balls and thousands of stickers, and they would put these stickers on and peel them back.
Oh,
And what would be
really?
left
Just
behind
apply
was,
the sticker?
Yeah, what would be left behind was 5 or 6 dots on the golf ball. So they had hired a guy to design and build a machine that would do this automatically.
Okay.
And he was paid a whole lot of money from what I remember, and it basically never worked. And they just got sick of paying him, so they just like this machine just sat in a corner and just kind of rotted away. So one day I'd asked one of the guys there, like, hey, what's going on with that dotting machine? And they said, hey, it's broken. Why? You want to try fixing it? And I was like, yeah, I'll give it a shot. And I started messing with it, and that was in my junior year. I ended up spending pretty much a solid year on this machine and fully redesigned it, fully reprogrammed it, designed and built electronics and did all kinds of stuff for it, and ended up getting the machine to work. And you would load up the machine with 100 or 200 golf balls and just let it run, and it would sorry, I'm getting attacked by moths here in my shop.
You're right.
So this machine would just dot golf balls all day, and it kind of eliminated the need to have these summer students sitting in a room who were making just as much as I was per hour, but I'm the one that designed the machine to.
Oh, of course.
Oh my goodness.
So I ended up using that project as what's called senior design or capstone design. Every engineering discipline pretty much has this. And again, it was like a contest where you present in your senior year and you take this class all year, and the professors are supposed to help and guide you. But on first day of the class, I had told the professor, like, I'm done. Like, my project's done. It's been done. And I explained everything, and he was like, yeah, that's fine. Just come to the class and you don't have to do anything else. And, you know, at the end of the second term, the finals basically are a design presentation. So you present in front of the whole school or anybody that shows up to watch it. And, you know, that basically pits all the seniors against each other, and it's a contest. And I had already done this presentation a few times over because I had presented this project regionally.
Sure.
And ended up winning that also. And but it was kind of unfair because I already had the project done for like a solid year before anybody else even started senior designs. So,
Wow.
but I mean, that was my benefit for taking an engineering internship job in my sophomore year, and sticking with it the entire time while I was at UMass Dartmouth.
Wow.
But you know, all things happen, I guess, for a reason. That job is the reason why I got into MIT. So when I applied to grad schools, I had applied to only 4. So I had applied to MIT, Carnegie Mellon, Georgia Tech, and BU. And I was kind of dead set on going to Georgia Tech. I had gone down there, I had visited the campus, I was already looking up, like, because I thought I might get back into BMX, and I was looking at like what Georgia tracks were close to the campus and everything.
Okay, so BMX is still in the picture.
Yeah, it was still in the picture, but it was I wasn't actively doing it for sure. So I had 4 solid years of like not riding at all. And I applied to all these schools, and I got rejected at all of them except for Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech put me on a waiting list, and the last one to come in was MIT. And I opened up the letter and I got accepted to MIT, which I was just like totally blown away. But when I ended up getting there, my advisor had told me that it was because of my letters of recommendation. So the vice president of research and development at Titleist had wrote this kind of scathing letter to MIT about me. Basically, he was saying that he was trying to talk me out of going to MIT and trying to hire me at Titleist full time. And he said, because George is better than any person I've ever seen come out of MIT. And that's what he basically told the...
Oh, boy.
That's quite the compliment.
Yeah, it is.
So that was, I was kind of shocked that he wrote that letter, to be honest, too. And, but my advisor had said, we saw that and we had to let you in, you know? And that is the kind of crazy thing, like learning about all this kind of stuff. And when I talk to kids and try to give them advice about things, you can have the best grades in the world, which I did not. I mean, I did well. I was always honors, but I wasn't like the straight A student. But you can have the best grades in the world. You can have all this stuff. You could take tests and do all this. But if you don't have a story and like interesting things surrounding who you are, you're just like everybody else who studies and does well. So I had heard stories of kids getting accepted to MIT because they, you know, there was one kid in particular came from like, he only had like 10 kids in his high school, but he made like a RC Snake robot out of like parts from Home Depot. And they just loved that about him, you know?
Did he put that in?
They were looking for something unique.
Did he put that snake in the toilet?
Yeah. Might have been the same guy.
It's the same guy.
That's just terrifying.
So then I go to MIT, and I really wanted to do robotics. Everyone I spoke to at MIT who had a robotics lab pretty much had no robotics funding. So I got called by a professor who was in fluid mechanics, and I had told him I was trying to hold out for a robotics position, and he's like, yeah, you know, you could do that, but you're probably not going to get any funding at all. And I have tons of money and I can pay you a stipend and your education is going to be free, but it's in fluid mechanics. So, come get your master's. And I interviewed with him and I was a little reluctant, but I just said, screw it. Like, let's do it. And kind of jumped headfirst into that, which was interesting. But I was only at MIT for literally a year and a half. I after the first 60 days being there, I remember going into my advisor's office and asking him, I was asking, what's the deal with staying for a PhD? And he's like, well, what do you mean? I said, well, I kind of want to know the time commitments here, because I'd like to plan things out. I was always like, okay, what's the national schedule? This is the races I'm going to. This is what I'm going to budget for, I've always been that kind of person. And he turns around and tells me, he's like, oh, yeah, a master's could be 3 years, it could be 5 years, it could be 10 years. It all depends on your committee. And I looked at him and I'm like, really? That's how it works? He's like, yeah. Why? How long do you think it's going to take you to get a master's? And I said, well, following the syllabus, it says it's 3 semesters worth of work. And he's like, nobody finishes their master's in 3 semesters. And I said, well, that's what my plan is. And he's like, you won't do it. And I'm like, okay. And he said, as a matter of fact, if you're ready with your thesis at the start of the last semester, he tells me, he said, I'll pass you regardless. And I'm like, okay, game on, let's go.
I was just going to say, so game on, here we go.
Hold my robot.
So,
right.
Under 1 year later, it was January.
Holy
January 2000. And he calls me up and he's like, hey, I haven't seen you in lab for 2.5 weeks. What's going on? Are you okay? And I'm like, I'm done. He's like, what do you mean you're done? I said, I finished all my experiments. I wrote my thesis. I put it on your desk. You said if I was done, I'd be all set. I said, I'm just going into school right now to take classes, because I had a few classes left in the last semester. And he's like, you need to come in here. We have to have a talk. And I come in, we have this talk, and I'm like, I told him, I said, listen, Doug, I have no idea, I don't know if you remember the conversation we had, but I've done everything that I'm supposed to do. Caterpillar has already reviewed all of my work. They've already reviewed my thesis. They've approved everything. So I don't know what else it is that you want me to do here, And then he begrudgingly took my thesis and 2 days later gave it back to me, signed off, and I was done. And
Wow.
I just had to finish off those classes. And
That's
that was
awesome.
it. So I finished in 3 semesters. It's kind of a little bit unfortunate because I would have wanted to stay a little bit longer, but even though everything was being paid for, I wasn't living on campus. And I was taking out a $10,000 loan just to be able to rent an apartment in Somerville, Mass. And I just thought it was kind of silly to just keep on taking a $10,000 loan so that I could hang out and live this, college life. And so I was eager to get started. And that's where things transitioned to Draper Laboratory, where I started in defense and robotics.
Okay.
So,
And then
Somehow this all ended up you making BMX parts, correct?
yes.
Because I'm literally, my mind's blown. I'm sitting here listening, and I was like,
I'm like,
Want to
this
hear
is-
about these parts?
This is cool.
Holy
Yeah.
Jesus,
So
man.
it all has a story. So going back to Titleist, I learned how to program microcontrollers, and there was a particular microcontroller that I really enjoyed programming. It was called a basic stamp, and that's a little bit out of the ordinary to some extent for a mechanical to be doing, because we stick to gears and pulleys and pistons and things like that, and the electrical engineers usually deal with electronics and motors and all that kind of stuff. But I really, from early on in college, I always tried to blend the two, and I became really good at microcontrollers and in what's called electromechanical systems, which is why I had an interest in robotics. So fast forward to Draper Laboratory. And on the first day of work, there was another guy who started there, and his name was Dave, and another mechanical engineer. He went to Wentworth Institute of Technology in Boston, and we go out to lunch that day. Same, pretty much same age as me, and he tells me, we're talking about stuff that we do, and he's like, "Oh, I have a bike company." I'm like, "You do?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's something I'm trying to get off the ground and start, but it's called Evil Bikes." And
Bikes.
this guy Dave Weigel, who I started at Draper with on the same exact day, ended up going down like the mountain bike path of part development. He's very, very well known for suspension design. If you look up a lot of his stuff, he has a lot of like patents on mountain bike suspensions and stuff like that. He's part of a new fork company that came out a few years ago called Trust. But basically, he kind of sparked my interest in bikes again. And it was like on the first day of work. And I was like, well, I still have my BMX bike. I said, have you ever ridden, there was a BMX track pretty close to where we were living called Wakefield. And he's like, yeah, I've been there. And we go there and we start riding, and it starts coming back to me. And I'm riding and I'm jumping and I'm watching this guy ride, and I'm like, man, you don't know how to ride a bike. Like, you can just tell. And
right.
And I sat there and I was like, yeah, you got a bike company, huh? Okay. And then I just kind of dove in head first to BMX racing again. So I started going to that track every week, doing the state series, started doing nationals right away. And it took me a little while to get in the groove of things. But in 2003, I was competing nationally and was up for #1 in 25 to 29 expert in the NBL. And so I took racing super seriously from 2000 to 2004, really. But in 2003, pretty much when I tried to get #1, I got this idea that I'm going to take the stuff that I know how to do and I'm going to make a tool to help me train. And that resulted in me starting the development of GCOG, which I don't know if you guys...
Oh, yeah.
We'll pull it up.
There's not a lot of info, though I've taken a lot of the info down on the website and stuff, but that was the start of it, was me trying to build a data acquisition device for myself to help me train. And along the way, I ended up meeting another local Northeast mountain bike guy. His name's Ken Avery. And he currently is, I think, vice president of marketing at Vittoria Tire right now. But I showed him what I was doing with GCOG. It wasn't called GCOG at the time. It was actually just a hub that I was trying to make. And he kind of convinced me that, hey, we should start a company together and we should make bike parts and do it as like a side deal. And I was all into it. Dove in completely. Him and I started Rennen, and that was 2003.
Okay. So this GCOG was your first adventure.
GCOG was the very first thing I started working on, but we immediately started working on a design that he had, which was a single speed chain tensioner for a mountain bike. A lot of mountain bikes at the time, anybody that was converting a mountain bike over to single speed, all of the mountain bikes at the time were vertical dropout bikes. So you couldn't put a single speed on and tighten the chain effectively. And there were one or two products on the market that were spring loaded, and it was basically looked like a derailleur, but with just a roller, and it had spring tension that pushed it up. But those devices never really worked very well, because when you would jump or do anything, the little spring would vibrate around, your chain would fall off, and you'd eat shit. So we developed something called, it was a totally rigid device. We actually still sell them to this day.
Oh, he's talking about that.
No, it's yeah, it's right there.
Yeah.
I don't should have thought of this, but I don't have one that was built up, but
Yeah.
this is the body
Right.
of the ones that we sell currently. So
Okay.
there's a roller, it goes in your rear drop, and it pivots about the derailleur hanger, and it all locks in rigidly. This was the first product that we ever developed, and I think we're selling them. I think we were selling them in 2003, and it's called the Rennen Roland Logger. So it's a single-speed chain tensioner for a mountain bike. Still selling to this day, which is hilarious because it's been 17 years of selling that product.
So
Well, that's great.
we got a quick question. Where'd
Yeah.
the name Rennen come from?
So the name Rennen is that product was called the Roland Lager, and Roland Lager is the German word for roller baron. Okay, so at the time my girlfriend was German, and I was asking her to translate different words. And one day we were coming back from the supermarket, and I had asked her to tell me what the German word for race was, and she said Rennen, and I knew immediately, like, oh, this is going to be perfect. Like, I'm going to call it Rennen Design Group, and the name stuck, and we've done that ever since.
That's cool.
So, back to Ken and the Roland Logger. So we were selling these. We were going to mountain bike single speed events. We've been to like the mountain bike single speed world championships. We had developed a single speed spacer kit also to complement that. We were selling quite a few of those. And in 2005, it just became, it was one of these things that, I had a day job. Ken had a day job. He actually used to design at the time. I think he was designing tires for Maxxis, and he couldn't really devote more time to it. And he knew the path that I wanted to go down was like I wanted to purchase a house with land, build a building, have a shop, have my own manufacturing facility. He wasn't in that kind of mindset. He's more of a marketing guy. And outsourcing everything, so things kind of clashed a little bit, and he didn't want to continue. So we ended the partnership at the time, but I took over Rennen full time from that point in time. And in 2005, I had the house that I live in now built here in Middleborough, Mass. I used to live just north of Boston. And I had definitely planned to build this house and then get a CNC machine and start making things out of the house. I didn't realize how fast it was going to happen, but I moved into the house December 2005. By September 2006, I already had a Haas CNC machine in my garage wired up, and I was making my own parts, and I started doing jobs for other people. And I just decided, I'm going to give this a shot. And I put in my resignation letter in 2006, and I never really looked back. When we got that Haas CNC mill, I literally got that mill because of making these arms. We were ordering something like 100 or 200 a month from a shop in Illinois. And we were spending like $1,000 or $2,000 a month to get those parts sent to us. And I said to myself, for that kind of quantity, I can buy a machine and finance it and make the stuff myself. But literally, I went to a trade show, saw the Haas machines, was really impressed. I called them up Monday after the trade show, and I was like, yeah, I want to buy a Haas TM1. Can I put it on 2 credit cards? And they're like, yeah, sure, no problem. It was like a $30,000 purchase, put it on 2 credit cards. 6 weeks later, this Russian guy shows up to pull it off the tractor trailer truck and like drive it up with a forklift and set it down in a residential neighborhood in my garage. And thus, Rennen really began at that point in time. Once I got a CNC machine, I literally got this machine. We don't learn how to do this in mechanical engineering.
So you had to learn how to program.
There is one lab that you learn how to use machine tools and stuff. But you don't really come out of school being very proficient.
No.
Literally, this machine showed up. I wired it up, and I'm opening up the manual, like, page 1, turn it on, green button.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
I had no idea how to use it. And 3 days later, I had designed and made all of the tooling I need to produce these. And I did a 100-part production run at night after work in like three nights.
Wow.
And I
Okay.
knew at that point in time, like, oh yeah, I'm going to be able to do this. Definitely going to be able to do this. And I was trying to think of, like, what could I make? What could I do? And the idea of bicycle gears came up, and I was intrigued by that because I always wanted to have like a large product line. So the very first gears we made were 19 millimeter gears for like a profile crankset. And I knew right away, I'm like, I'm going to make the entire size range. So we literally make from 22 tooth all the way up to 52 tooth. And we always did that. But the funny thing is, in 2006, I literally thought that was going to be like the staple product moving forward. And at that point in time, the Shimano Saint Crank had literally just come out. And I remember telling London Wilmot, my former Rennen Intense team manager, he was trying to push me to make 4-bolt gears. And I was like, man, I'm not going to waste my time with that shit. Like, nobody's going to buy that stuff. Like, you know, like, we're doing the
Nobody's
profile
buying
stuff,
that 4-bolt stuff.
yeah. And what a bonehead move that was. So, but we, you know, I learned quick and started producing gears in 2006. And really just things kind of kept on building and taking off from there.
So did you ever do any work for anyone else, or you just do your own stuff back in the beginning?
I did a lot of design work for other people, especially in those years leading up. I never really did a lot of production work for anyone else up until recently. We have done, now that I have the new lathe and everything, this thing's a really good workhorse. And we've done some frame, like we've made parts of frames, so dropouts, head tubes, bottom brackets, seat tube assemblies.
So you're doing some of the turning?
We've done stuff for Throwdown, S Squared, SIA. We recently made Speedco disc brake adapters. So a few things like that. I don't take a lot of production work from other companies. But I will from time to time. And but mainly I'm just trying to focus on my own stuff. So
all right. So then after the sprocket, so you machine those all in-house. You don't outsource any of that.
Yeah, we've never outsourced a gear ever.
Okay. How do I say that and make sense? What was after the gear? What was the next thing that came along in the product line?
After gears, I think it was GCOG. GCOG was still actively being worked by me.
Okay. So you never gave up on that?
Never gave up on it. No.
Okay.
Always was pushing forward, trying to turn that into a product. And, but it took a long time. That has thousands and thousands upon thousands of hours in it. And, I started that effort in 2003, and I don't think we released until 2008, I believe.
Okay.
I know we debuted, I think, in Louisville in 2008, and then I think Grands 2008 was my first ever Grands, ABA Grands, and that's where we had stuff for sale and available. But I mean, that was just a massive effort, and it was a lot of work.
No.
I'm glad I did it because I didn't want to go through life and be this like old crotchety old man and be like, I should have did that, and I had this, and somebody else did it, those motherfuckers, like
Right.
I didn't want to be that guy.
For sure.
Explain to those that don't know what the GCOG is. Like
Like the
because it was
the basics
really
of
like
it.
way, and it still is. It's still way ahead of its time.
Oh yeah, it's still, there's still nothing like it out there.
No, like it had,
So G-Cog was basically a cog that we manufactured, and bolted to it, it had an electronics package on the side. So in that electronics package, we measured, we made custom strain gauges that were bonded to the cog.
You gotta dumb.
I was just
You
gonna say-
have to dumb this down. Like,
Yeah, so strain
Yeah,
gauges
'cause we
are,
don't
Thank
know
you.
what-
they're
like,
special
I'm-
sensors that measure how much stress is in the cog. So that's basically going to tell you your force that you're applying.
Okay.
All right.
And then G-Cog had two
I didn't
sets
know that.
of 3-axis accelerometers, and those measure all of the dynamics of the cog. So everything about the ride comes from the accelerometers. So
Which it was you could integrate it with, was it Wi-Fi or Bluetooth?
it was Bluetooth.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Yeah, so it would
Holy
collect
cow.
data.
Yeah, right.
on-
No, it was like way ahead of its like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
It
I
would collect data on 8 sensors up to 250 times per second. And at the time, and still to this day,
It's way
like the state of the art is in mountain biking and road is a shitty 2 times per second sample rate.
And you had it. This is the thing I remember. Sorry to cut you off. Was like it was the bike here. You measured that, right? So like, if someone was like tossing their handlebars left and right, that G-Cog measured that.
Yeah,
So
the
like,
rider
movement?
wobble.
yeah, rider wobble. That was like one of the things. I'm like, wait, what is? I remember reading it and I was like, holy cow! Like I work in the wireless industry, and I was like, the data that you're transferring was amazing, and like that alone, the left and right of your bike, you know, if anyone that trains knows, like that's lost power. You know, like if you wobble, it's lost power going forward. And I was like, that was single thing, like the most amazing part of that for me. And then I read everything else that you put into you know, the G-Cog, the refresh rate, and the fact that you could like download all the information, and you even had your own interface for
We had so along the way, you know, in 2004, I met a friend of mine through my ex-wife. He was this guy's name was Justin, and he was a software programmer in Boston. And you know, because we would hang out and stuff, he was interested in the things that I was working on. And I, at the time, was fully on the hardware side, just trying to get sensors to connect and collect data. And I would look at it in engineering software and like look at the graphs and everything. He took it and worked on everything from the Bluetooth side through the user interface. And he's the one responsible for making all the graphs the way that they looked and the interface the way that it looked.
wow.
And we had that kind of partnership for a few years after we released G-Cog. But G-Cog was tough because it was fully self-funded. We didn't do like investment rounds and all this kind of stuff that a lot of people do for products like this. And it's tough when you're putting your own money into it and dealing with that. Along the way, not with Justin, but with Ken, my former partner in Rennen, we patented G-Cog. And literally, Ken and I wrote the patent. Like, we didn't hire a patent attorney. I sat down to write the patent for G-Cog. Took a solid year. And we met every single day and worked on the patent, and it got approved. And, you know, we have the, you know, little laser engraved brass plaque that says that we have a patent on G-Cog.
very nice.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, it was a lot of stuff that we had to work on, but it was ahead of its time. Unfortunately, you know, a product like that really needs a bigger development team, in my opinion. And for the consumer that we were making it for, it needed to be something that was very, very simplified to where like an iPhone, you know, the user could see it in that and do what they need to do. I remember at the start of this, I said I got super into racing and training, and I was trying to make a device for myself to use so that I could get better. And that's what I made. But by the time I had something I could use, I had lost interest in racing competitively. And the product ended up being like this super high end, like nerd central, like more data than anybody could look at. And unfortunately, it was over too many people's heads. And
kind of overkill for what it was doing.
It wasn't overkill, but we didn't have the correct message to tell a customer. Everyone that bought one, and by the way, like from day one to the last sale, we sold about 100 units overall. Okay. And on average, people bought it had 3 price ranges. It was 500, 1,000, 1,500. On average, we sold the $1,000 unit. And but that's tough, you know. 4 years, 100 grand of revenue coming in, and you're just putting all of that back into trying to develop and keep the product going and everything. Well, it got to the point where so many people were buying. Well, people were buying it and asking like, how does my kid get better? How does my kid get better? What do I do with this? So if I could provide to them that answer, we would have sold 1,000 units, but I didn't do that. And that was, we tried like linking up with Greg Romero at one point and to try to push that. But I think at that point in time, things were just kind of too far gone with it. And, it was a complicated interface. It was a lot of information. If you're an engineer, it was good. Like you could look at it and figure tons of shit out.
Mm-hmm. You'd love it, right? You'd love it, wouldn't you, Chris?
I'm not an engineer. No,
but you kind of are.
Sean wants a job.
Yeah, Sean
wants
in our.
You're hiring dezgners.
Yeah, Sean in our chat. He's nerding out over here.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Hey, Melissa, do we got any? We'll jump over. Melissa, do we have any questions in the coming out of the chat?
Yeah. Are we not going to take a break first?
We can. Yeah, let's here. We'll hit our commercials. We'll come right back with George, and we'll get the questions out of our chat.
Hey, Metro Detroit, it's time to experience the coolest store you've never been to. Magic Motorsports in Waterford. Discover over 40,000 square feet of savings. From motorcycle parts, accessories, and service to hoodies, coats, jackets, and sunglasses from Oakley and Spy, and so much more. Looking for that perfect gift? You'll find it here. Get big discounts on everything every day. We also carry the area's largest selection of BMX bikes and accessories. And we change motorcycle tires while you wait. Magic Motorsports on Dixie Highway just west of Telegraph in Waterford.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth.
All right, we are back with our guest, George Costa from Rennen Design Group. We want to say thank you to Truth BMX for their support of our show. Go over there, check out Truth. What's their website? Truth BMX.
They just redid it.
Oh, they just redid the whole website.
It's truthbmx.com.
Truthbmx.com. Okay, that's it. Go over there, check out Truth. They got a lot of great products, redesigned website. Go check those guys out. And then also Magic Motorsports right here in Waterford, Michigan, just around the corner from the Waterford Oaks BMX track.
Which is where George raced in 1994.
Which is where George is 94. Go check them out. They've got all kinds of BMX And I mean, if you need it, they got it pretty much over there. I mean, I was over there Saturday, picked up a pair of fly pants. You know,
They also have Rennen gears.
They carry Rennen gears over there.
I don't know if George knows this or not, but I'm pretty sure, like, I don't know this for certain, but they're probably a pretty big buyer in BMX.
Nice.
Like they buy, like he has.
He's got a bunch of those over there, I believe.
In the words of our video guy, Magic has a shit ton of the Rennen gears.
Yeah.
They
And
got a bunches of them.
He goes through them quick.
he does. He sells them.
I
fast.
Okay.
went in there for a 44.2 and
Here,
we're gone
you
within
gotta,
10 minutes.
yeah.
Oh my God.
Hello.
You got that off? Okay.
Woo.
Chris, go back.
Go back. Okay.
Okay.
All right,
I
we're
got
back.
some questions.
All right.
All right.
Moving on. Mr. Robert Cardoza he says, I have a gnarly question. If you're running a 4118 on a 24 with,
Oh my God.
Oh God.
with 177
Here it
cranks,
comes.
hold on, this is his math problem, and you're moving to 175 cranks, I'm
My
probably
head
not even
hurts.
saying that right.
My head hurts.
What gear and what would you use to match?
Wow.
What?
Let me know if you need to
I
repeat
think he's
any.
trying to fly ET bikes, man.
I think he is, dude. Hey, Rob, we got to get a hold of ET. I know he is.
Was can you repeat the sizes again?
Yeah, go
177 to 175.
Yeah. Running a 4118 on a 24, going from 177 cranks, and you're moving to 175. What gear?
Okay. 175.
That's funny.
Do you have an app, or are you doing this like a calculator?
He's got it on his website.
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, I was just doing it on a calculator.
Jesus.
My guess would be a 41.2.
Well, there you go, Robert. You heard it here first. Try that.
Try that one, Rob, buddy.
The goat has spoke.
That's right.
So, go ahead, Melissa. I'm
I got
sorry.
more questions. Mr. Ryan King wants to know what new, quote, tech in BMX has George been most impressed by, technology been most impressed by, and what is ripe for redesign?
I am excited about the stuff that they're doing in carbon fiber. I think that there's a lot of room there for redesign. So, the majority of, all of the carbon work right now is all happening in Asia. And I don't think, some people might be, trying to push the limits, but I think that there's probably a lot more that can be done. So.
Nice.
Okay. So carbon's the new thing. Everybody's pushing for that right now, huh?
Yeah.
Of course.
All right. Brian wants to know your thoughts, comments, advice for the old guys on, is that OS 20?
Yes. OS 20. Yep.
Man, I am not a fan. I'll say that.
All right.
Here it comes.
I'm not a fan of
I gotta
the bike
follow up.
industry creating things just to create stuff, Just like when we had 26-inch wheels and they went to 27.5 and now they have 29, there's a term for that, which is planned obsolescence. And that's when you go design something literally to try to get everyone to change all the shit that they have.
I just want to yell. I want to
Almost 20 stuff doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I get that, the bigger wheel is more stable, this and that, but you're given a performance because when you go to that bigger diameter wheel, it is going to be slower out of the gate, for sure. And all of these people who say cruiser's faster and a bigger wheel rolls faster and all this stuff, that's never happened and it's not going to happen because give a bunch of people, their choice of bike that they're going to ride, and the cruisers are not going to be the ones that are going to be winning for equal skill. So,
Right.
You got any plans to go into the 22 market?
no.
Well, I'm in a group on,
Oh, are
I
you?
have a 22-inch, whatever. So like that's my neighborhood park
like your
/ pump track bike, whatever.
Cruising the hood bike?
Basically, yeah. Just ride up to the liquor store and buy 40s so Chris and I can go take his helicopter out. But anyway, I got one, so I ride it, and I told the guys in the group, I'm like, we'll ask. So okay.
Okay. So
I mean, the stuff that I'm trying to make is, I am focusing on a lot of little guy stuff.
Big money.
Mainly because I think that for years, the smallest kids were just getting whatever was designed for big guys kind of scaled down, and you could really push the limits and make stuff that is incredibly light and strong. And trying to, the whole factory dad thing, like, we love them, so
Love
keep
'em.
them coming.
it's cool to see.
You had a belt at the Grands for Factory
Yeah.
Dad, correct?
Yeah, for sure.
And
Yeah,
what
that
was
was awesome.
What was the weight that won? Like, what was the total weight of that bike that won?
I think it was 9 pounds 1 ounce.
Holy shit!
But I know
Wow.
that dad, he has like 7 kids, and they all have decked out bikes. The guy shows up, and I think it was his 3-year-old, and he weighs his bike, and
Was it Brian?
I think it was like 9.5 pounds at that point, and he's like, "Oh, that's pretty good." And I said, "Yeah, but you're tied right now." And he said, "Really?" I said, "Well, what else can I do?" And this guy, he bought like everything that we made pretty much. And he got his bike way down, he cut a half pound off pretty much. And
Wow.
he ended up with the belt, and I am hoping that nothing gets screwed up this year for Grands, because I really want to do it again, and I want to have
Man, we want you
That would be sweet.
like a pro-sized bike class, and I want to have the same thing like the little guy bike class, and see where people go with it.
Okay.
Because
That's
I know that
awesome.
there's some people that wanted to go, and a few people told me that they're planning on going to Grands just to try to win that belt. Like, that's their goal.
I think Paul's going for that,
That
reason.
would
Yeah,
be,
right.
that would be cool
Aren't you?
to see.
Our sound
For
guy's
sure.
going for that.
I would like to see that.
T-Bone and I both want to know what's the dumbest thing that you've ever made for BMX.
The dumbest thing that I've ever made
Yeah.
for BMX?
Yeah. Like that thing, I guess it would be that
Hey,
thing you
I mean, it's
regret.
hard to
wasn't-
critique what you create,
George,
but
it'll never be Pro Forks. So
Oh.
we're good.
No, she's asking
that
the
he
dumbest thing that
designed.
I've
I know,
ever
yeah,
made.
it'll never be Pro Forks, though. Like, it's never going to be that.
Pro Force.
that bad.
Remember the
huh?
Pro Forks?
No, I'm.
The suspension forks that, like, nobody rode suspension? It was,
Hey, I have Pro Forks right over here.
yeah, I have a pair, too. Because every pro had them,
But you don't ride them.
but I don't ride them. They were the most amazing thing ever.
Man, that's a good question, because I don't really think my products are dumb.
Well,
But,
I could see that.
I don't think anything's come out of your wheelhouse that
I will say that there's a lot of stuff that we've developed that I think is, super useful, but it has not been commercially popular.
What about
two
the?
things?
Go ahead.
The G-Cog and the It Wheel. Those two
that
things.
thing is bad. Is that?
Yeah, the It
that's
Wheel,
awesome.
hands down, will make someone faster if they use it correctly. And we don't really sell a lot of those at all. So,
We're gonna put it up right next to you here in a second.
yeah.
So, go ahead, Melissa.
I was just gonna say, well, just to get back to the dumb things that you've designed. What about the caveat being, have you been asked to design something that you're like, why would you ever want?
Yeah, I get
that.
asked stuff all the time. My favorite one is everyone wants decimal cogs. And
Okay.
I could do it if I chose to. But,
But why?
That's going to be a whole
Well-
section. We're going to talk about
Oh
those.
God. Dude.
I feel like there's a certain responsibility that people have when they're in a position like mine, and I'm not here just to make stuff and sell it and try to get rich. Like, I'm trying to make things that I think make a difference in the sport and things that will last. And doing something like a decimal cog is totally doable, but it's totally going to fuck up everything for gear ratios and stuff. Like, imagine the calculator. Imagine like how screwed up people are going to be when they're talking about a 44.2 divided by 15.9, and
I'm lost already.
it's
No, it'd be crazy.
I feel a certain responsibility that I shouldn't do that just for $1. So I personally do not. and I actually commend some people out there. One in particular, my buddy Mike Von Sothen, because he's known to he's made a lot of stuff for a lot of people, and he routinely gets people hitting him up asking him to make decimal cogs, and he refuses to do so, which is awesome that is happening. But you know, I would just wish that a big pet peeve of mine is people stealing ideas. That shit just drives me absolutely nuts, because we've had a bunch of things, you know, basically copied. People, they all play dumb, and they're like, oh no, this was done in mountain biking in like the 80s. And I'm like, yeah, really? Show me the proof of it. And they can't.
Well, speaking of that,
so there's a lot of stuff like that, and I just would hope that people would be original with their ideas, with their companies, because if your goal is to just go around and like rip other people off, well, you're gonna have problems. So,
yeah.
And speaking of that, Melissa's got a question from our chat on some of the ideas that have come through mountain biking and BMXing.
Okay.
Yeah. There you go. Sorry.
I was like, you should have just asked
it.
it.
Segue that for you, honey.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Ryan King was just asking your thoughts on oval chain rings.
It's an interesting idea, and although the stuff that's out there right now, I feel like the tooth swing is too high. So all of the existing products go up and down like 2 to 3 teeth, and that's too much for BMX. So is something smaller beneficial? It could be, but you know, it's a difficult thing that you'd have to prove. So there's actually a research paper that a university in Spain did on oval chain rings with a G-Cog, and they claim that there is, you know, an advantage, but their sample size and what they did is not strong in my opinion. So
okay. All right. So I guess moving along, are we going to talk about the wheel thing?
I don't know. You want to?
Or do we want to go into the, well, along the same lines with the gearing? When and how did you come up with the decimal gearing?
Decimal gearing was 100% attributed to posting on Vintage BMX. You know, back when, you know, I'm old enough that I used to fight with old guys on the internet on forums and not just Facebook.
Is that you, Chris?
So
No.
You ever got in an argument on Vintage?
Vintage? No, I've been on there. I've seen some of it, but I've not been a part of it.
Never got in an argument?
No, I did not.
Never got like decimal gear arguments or?
See, Vintage was great because you could argue with someone. You could type up this huge response and totally crush them, and it would stay as an archive that would be there forever. And there was only like one person who was in control of deleting things, which was Mike Caruth, and he was pretty fair for the most part.
Yeah.
But nowadays you get, you know, this kind of shit happens on Facebook, and you go spend all that time and trash somebody, and then they delete your comment. And it's like ultimate millennial thing to do, and it drives me nuts. That's why I don't.
Then it's
do get into it with people, and it's funny when it happens. And I know some people egg me on, but at the same time, you know, it gets deleted, and it's weak. You know,
I remember like about a year ago, maybe a little more. You brought out the adjustable crank.
Yep.
And there it is. It's like
I thought that thing was pretty cool myself.
The coolest thing was your like marketing behind it, hinting to this thing and talking about it. Nobody could see it, and then you put your video up on YouTube, and like straight out, just it made all the sense, but people wanted to argue, and you pretty much put the whole sport kind of on blast on like, here's how this works. You're going to spend this much money if you buy, you know, 3 cranks in the next X amount of time. Like, you broke the whole thing down. But the fact was, like, everybody wanted to come at you about the strength. Like, is it strong? Is it, whatever. And then as soon as I saw the video, I'm like, yeah, that's gonna work. Like, that's gonna work.
Is.
Common sense will tell you that. But it was crazy to see, like, what you were saying with people that want to fight with you on, Facebook and social media.
Yeah, because everybody that sees it is thinking, well, like, I'm putting Sean DePreet on this, and this is meant for like a 140-pound child, And
it's so sweet, though.
It is,
and that's
cool
where we're
thing.
focusing. But it's hilarious to have these discussions with people because, like, this one arm right here weighs exactly the same as a set of our new cranks. And again, zero problems with the Hive cranks, but people think that they're going to be breaking these. So it's kind of comical. I feel a little bit humbled that someone said they're so ugly that they look like the Tesla Cybertruck. So I'm pretty pissed about that.
That's funny. That is funny.
Again, it's one of these things, like, I've wanted to do this for a long time, and much like GCOG really did. I mean, it was a lot of work, and probably financially I'll never get back the amount of work that I put in, but credibility wise, you can't buy that, so who's ever gonna step up and match me in that regard? It's gonna take someone a lot of time and effort and a lot of money to do something like that. I view it the same thing as this. Like, even if these aren't the most popular option that are out there, they're still an option, and it's out there. And, some families are all into it to save money. Some people want to test. That's where I view the product, is like a testing platform.
Sure.
And then once you lock in the size that you want, then you get your badass, super light cranks and set your bike up. But, people have their own thoughts on,
Well,
the
I can
and,
see if you have a younger boy or girl child, and it's like buying shoes or clothes for the kid. They keep growing, and you're gonna have to buy more shoes. So why not get that adjustable and then find that sweet spot, like you just said, and then get the full blown crank?
Yeah, totally. There's lots of different people, using them in different ways. You have the person on one side who wants to, they're looking to save as much money as possible, so they're going to buy this crank and they're going to use it for their kid from 4 years old up to like 12. And then you have the person who's buying it to really, or two dads together that go in on it. They spend $150 a piece. They get the crank set. They use them between a couple of different kids. They really dial in with their kids where they want to be, and they're not on Facebook Marketplace hunting down, hey, do you have 105 millimeter cranks that I could borrow, or whatever. So,
for sure.
And it's only, I mean, it's unofficially endorsed by the factory dad.
Yeah.
Billy wants to know if he can get that in a 4-bolt.
That's because Billy would run that. Like,
well, I was gonna say adult version.
Yeah, like
I would like that.
That's sketchy. Anyway, hey, make sure you hit up Billy at Gate 9 for your jersey designs.
Jersey Designs, Gate 9.
Yeah. Get out of here, Billy. We love you, Billy. Thank you for being the longest supporter of our show.
Let's get back to our guest.
Yeah.
Heck with Billy.
Man. Hey, so we got to hit two commercials. Wait, we got two commercials left? We got one left. We got to hit a commercial real quick. We'll be right back. And we're going to do our news, rumors, gossip, and probably our voicemail, right? Mm-hmm. All right, sounds good. We'll be right back.
Heavy Pedals BMX Zine. Voted number 1 by the All Things BMX podcast show viewers. Issue 3, now out. Make sure you head over to Sloan Bicycle Shop, Ray's MTV, Reggie's, and many others to pick your copy up now. While you're at it, make sure you check out our website, pick up one of our new t-shirts, and our beer koozies to keep those drinks nice and frosty cold on those warm days at the track and trails. Heavy Pedals with a Z.
All right.
And we are back. We want to say thanks to Heavy Pedals. Chuck, great job. He's got big things coming for issue 4.
Awesome.
And
I've seen him out and about taking pictures.
He is, and he has some jerseys being made.
I was going to say, did he start a race team?
He did.
That's what I thought.
Allegedly.
Rumor has it he's got a few riders hooked up on a little race team going on there, something like that.
George used to have a race team.
Yeah,
that's true. Actually, a really good race team, if I remember correctly.
He had a very famous person from Michigan on that team.
Famous person from Michigan?
2 people from Michigan.
I don't.
Alita.
You got one right. That was Alita and Marquand.
Marquand Billingsley, yeah.
Yeah. So.
All right.
And we actually this weekend over in Grand Rapids we had what was the kid's name? Marshall Gerke.
Marshall, yeah.
He showed up and just basically
smoked the money open class.
As they said,
Not in the main.
he showed up and showed out. Unfortunately, he did unclip in the main, but holy moly, like that kid is
not 13.
He is not 13. Like I can't figure out. Like that is a man child right there. Ain't nobody.
Yeah, it's been proven multiple times over. So
yeah,
right.
Like that poor kid probably has to show up to the track with his birth certificate. But man, he is fast, and he is. I remember listening to you on another podcast about how good that kid is on a bike, and we got to see it because they had. Wasn't it like an impromptu jump thing?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the jumping
so
contest between the motos and the main.
So
yeah.
he just like goes out and starts 360 and stuff and toboggan.
Yeah, he drives me nuts. He drove me nuts when he raced for me, and he still drives me nuts because he's not at his full potential.
No.
And you know,
that's the scary.
He wouldn't be doing half of this shit if I was still a team manager. So.
Well, maybe Heavy Pedals could hire George for their team manager.
There you go.
Yeah, I'll do tricks.
I mean,
Yeah,
I could just see Chuck.
Jenny
hire-
from the block is saying that even Dylan's older than he is.
Yeah, Dylan's like, and he.
Jenny
All right,
from the block.
we're gonna move to our Jeremy Ames voicemail. George, let's hope Jeremy never gets your phone number because this guy will leave you the craziest, weirdest voicemails you'll ever have.
Lord knows where he's going to go.
I hope he leaves you one this week, Chris.
Need to leave me one.
All right, here we go.
Oh shit!
I mean, literally, this is your spot.
Hey, Justin, Brian Wilson here, T-Bone himself, calling from beautiful Cape Coral, Florida. Sunny skies, and the pandemic is hot down here. Woo! Smoking hot. Also, you might know me as Rookie Poker 47 on Twitter. Hey, listen, I looked at that property you wanted me to down here. I ran the finances, and I'm going to be honest with you. Pork Chop has a better chance of getting this house than you. It actually said when I ran the credit that just said you're a bum. I've never seen that before. It's wild. Hey, listen, man, I'm going to have to deny your sponsorship to the back to school T-Bone BMX training. Not going to go into the details, but it sounds pretty chaotic up there. You don't know who's in, who's out, who's bad, who's not. I don't know what the hell's going on, man. You know, some people like them jerseys. I put a $sign in yours. You told me to go gangster with it. I'll put an extra H in Ames's name, and there's not even an H in his name. You get it? Don't get T-boned. Don't get T-boned. You feel me? Hey, listen, I got to get going. I've got real life stuff to do, but if I have a second, I'll tune into the show. Hey, tell Billy over there at Gate 9 to shut his mouth. It's just open a lot. And it's doing a little sipping to do, maybe a little chew, do and chew, baby. That Kodiak life. All right now. Hey, Chris Beers, I'm coming for you, by the way. I see you. You look at that screen extra hard right now. See that? That's the first place on my side. Ooh, I'm going to lose it.
Coming for
my
me?
God.
All right.
Well, I don't.
Oh, my goodness.
He didn't talk shit on you, Paul.
No, he didn't.
Basically, like the only person.
He didn't say nothing about me.
No. Yeah, no, he didn't.
That's what
he
you're
didn't.
nice
No.
He likes me too.
So, It is our news, rumors, and gossip section now. I can't. That guy, he's out of control.
All right.
Here it is. Yeah, I got it. Just like that. All right. It is news, rumors, and gossip brought to you by our friends at Nate's Painting. Nate, you won the gate.
Won?
He did.
Yeah, he did.
He won the gate
for sure.
And we're going to
That's
have
one sweet setup.
Brian just said he almost pissed himself.
Oh, he was laughing at
He
it.
did, yeah, for real.
Yeah.
So
Can I just point out too?
Please do.
How awesome your banner looks on the bottom of that screen. That is really awesome. I just happened to notice that you added that. So everybody can reference all the media that we are
That's
involved
something
in.
we were.
George said that if he was coming on this show, we need to get this shit a little tight.
We need to get a little more legit looking, or what?
Rennen ain't coming on without
it looking like we know what we're doing, eh?
We don't.
Yeah, we do the best.
We're gonna wing it. Like the guy has a degree from MIT, right? MIT, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a university. I can't even afford to drive there too. So
right.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah, we're in the news, rumors, and gossip section of the show. If you have any news, rumors, or gossip you want to share with us, please email us at allthingsbmxshow@gmail.com, and we'll try and get it on here for you. You got something going on at your track, you got a special event going in the next week or two, whatever it is, shoot us a message. We'll be glad to get it on for you.
George, you got anything happening over at Rennen you want to share with us?
No, not really. Just working every day. So.
All right.
7 days a week.
We got to go to work tomorrow too. It sucks. All right. So our first bit of news, we're going to talk about the fundraiser for Ron McDonald over in Lansing. All right. Yep. So here's our dude, a good guy.
Yeah.
I don't even.
You don't know what to say.
No.
So he was recently diagnosed with stage
Melissa.
4 pancreatic cancer.
Yeah.
And he's looking to, we're looking to raise money for him to give to his family to help kind of ease their burden while he's kind of putting in the fight here.
Fighting what he can.
He's hoping to be there. I think if I remember correctly, it's Saturday.
September 12th.
September 12th.
Yeah.
Are we going to be doing? Is it in the evening? What, 4 to 6:30? I think registration.
Yeah.
Single point race.
Yeah. And it's at Capital City Family BMX in Lansing.
Right.
Make sure I get the name right.
And then are you guys got details worked out on the team series?
Yes.
Justin?
So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a team race for that day. So you can put your team in, put as many team sheets as you want to. All that money is going to go to help Ron.
Go help Ron fight his fight.
Yeah, absolutely. We're also going to have a money open. However, y'all can't clip in.
A flat.
Pedals.
I won't be here.
Love it.
I know you're going to be gone, but
unfortunately, we do bump up against the Rum River, right?
Yeah, we do. It'll be we're going to go ahead. But regardless,
yes,
we have a flat pedal money open race. We got a team series race, and from what I heard, Chris is going to be racing in a tutu.
Oh, that's not happening. Hey, if I thought it would raise money and help Ron out for sure, but I'm not going to be in town then. I'm taking my daughter to college.
Yeah, we knew.
Well,
this.
Paul will race in a tutu then. All right.
Paul's going to do
to.
it. Paul's going to take over for me.
I'll wear the tutu. I'm not racing.
Oh, no. That's
all right, forget it. George, you're going to race in a tutu for this fundraiser. All right.
If I was there, I would do it.
Yeah, perfect. So
awesome.
This is going to go on Saturday the 12th. Chris, get your goddamn helicopter and fly there.
Sure.
So it is a single point race. However, we're going to have team race, flat pedal race, and registration is going to run from 4 to 5:30. So come on out, man. It's going to be a good time. It'll be a good time. And Big Mac. We love you, buddy.
And if nothing else, prayers for himself and his family.
For sure.
We're gonna have the what? Did he have a not a goat? No.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. I believe he's got a GoFundMe.
GoFundMe. Yeah, we're gonna put that up on the.
We'll put that on our Facebook, and you guys can check that out.
Please do.
If you can't make it out to Lansing, Michigan, anything can help, even if it's just a couple of bucks. Help. This is a good dude. He's been around the sport for a long time.
He's part of the reason we got this show.
He's part of
because he like when we talked about doing this, he was one of the guys that's like, man, I'm going to share some information with you, and like totally schooled me on like how Michigan is like an important part of BMX. And
it's a lot of history here, yeah.
Dude, like the pictures he sent on the, he sent a lot of stuff and helped out on the back end a lot, with pictures.
Awesome.
And like, God, I forget what track I remember him sending some pictures.
Lansing,
anyway,
I think
no,
Jack
not
Pine or something.
There was another one. I had no idea, but he ended up sending it to me. It was just outside of Owasso, in between Owasso and Lansing. And I was like, I had no idea there was even a track.
He'll put it in the chat.
It will be.
If he's listening, he'll put the name of the track in the chat.
He will.
So help us out, Ron.
Big Mac, you got your benefit race coming up on the 12th, man. And then we have the I-69 shootout. Right, Paul?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that the right name?
Triple check challenge, whatever you want to call it.
Triple.
So here's what happened. Right before we went on the air.
He put the dirty one in his mind and it stuck.
Right before we went on the air.
69, baby.
Right before we go on the air, Paul's like, hey,
we just put this
we're going to do
together.
this shootout thing, and it's going to run with Ron, with Ron's fundraiser, right?
No, it's the weekend before.
Weekend.
Labor Day weekend.
It's next weekend, right?
Yeah, Labor Day weekend.
So we're going to do Can-Am.
Friday night.
Which is Friday night. So Can-Am is Port Huron here in Michigan, for those that don't know that. And then Saturday is
Capitals.
Okay, so we're going to have a race there. And then Sunday,
Richfield Park.
All under the lights.
all of them are going to be under lights, right? Kind of.
Yeah.
As best we can do.
As best, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you guys going to have like barrels out there with like fires in them?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right, good talk.
Yeah. Glass in the berms and barbed wire up top.
Glass in the berms and barbed wire at the top.
I like this race already.
Sounds like fun, man.
This is gonna be like the,
Fire it up.
Flat pedals.
Flat pedal.
Registration will take forever. But
Yeah, well, I mean,
Well, it always
always
will,
does.
but that's how it goes. So that's coming up Labor Day weekend. You can hit 3 races: Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Rest on Monday, and just have a little picnic or whatever you do. But
that's
get out,
right,
check
Labor
that
Day.
out.
yeah.
That'll be fun.
What are you doing on Labor Day?
I have no idea yet.
George, what are you doing?
Probably working.
He's making decimal gears.
Me too.
You're gonna make decimal gears?
No, I have to work on Labor Day.
Oh. Okay.
Which should be outlawed. That's the whole point of the frickin' day.
It is.
But
So,
whatever.
Our next little bit of news is our. You want to help the show out? We really appreciate when you help the show out. Get your mask.
Everybody's got to have one, at least one.
You can get your mask, your ATB T-bone mask, $12. We're gonna ship it to you. You got one, Chris?
Oh yeah, I got 2 or 3 of them actually, and
Have you
I
bought-
gotta say, they are the most comfortable ones out of all the ones I've tried myself. And I'm not just saying that because they're ours and
I mean,
all
you
that
buy
stuff.
a lot of them at truck stops, right?
At truck stops.
I don't know.
Over at the booze barn in Perry.
The booze bar.
Or what was that place called I went to?
Lions Den in Perry, Michigan. No,
I don't know what that is.
anyone that knows anyone that is familiar with that gets that joke.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It
You
is
shouldn't be familiar with
Well,
that,
you-
though, if you
anyway.
have.
Was that one of them dancing girl places?
It's more the book.
We're just gonna leave
Let's
it.
leave it as a store.
Okay.
Highway 69 there, that's for sure.
I mean, it is on I-69.
Anyway, get your All Things BMX show mask,
we
please.
took a
It helps
turn.
support the
Show just went to the wrong-
I know. I'm
Are we
trying
in the
to,
chat?
I'm trying to write. I'm trying to write the show here.
It's not gonna happen.
All right, so. Yeah, so check that out. If you see us out and about at a race, ask us about them.
Got them $10.
They're $10 if you find us at a local race, versus 12
to ship 'em.
Ship them to you.
I'm not even sure we're making. Like, I think we're probably losing
Yeah, but hey, it's the coolest BMX mask I've seen. So
Ever.
that's just
In
my
the
opinion.
entire universe.
Right.
And
It's the
like next
best.
week we'll put Rennen on it, and it'll be the greatest thing ever.
Hey, you know what? The other day I saw Chris Allen had one on down at DeSoto BMX in his Chris's Corner show. He had on the All Things BMX show mask. I thought that was kind of cool. I looked at that. I did it. I'm like, wait a minute, that's cool.
Did he tag you in that?
No, I don't think so.
He probably did.
He tagged you in it.
Well, he does. So our next little bit of news that we have, George, and we got to know this.
Wait.
Where are we going?
Brandon once said his boy asked if the Lion's Den had pet lions. They got kitties, buddy. That's all I got to say.
Wait, the Lion's Den's a restaurant out in Waterford on M59.
Yeah, well, then
Okay, we're talking about
It's
something
that
else.
too.
All
Then
right.
there's a whole chain of anyway. So.
All right, let's keep it G, boys and girls.
Nope.
Cougars, maybe.
This shit has fallen off the track.
Let's keep
All
it
right,
G.
I'm done. All right.
Melissa's
Moving
out.
on.
All right.
So the next
Tapping
little
out.
bit we have is the Mighty Mo's BMX cruise. George, we got to know this. So Melissa has convinced me to go on a boat that I won't see the shore. And I'm going to be on this thing.
Is it like 4?
No, I'm
4
terrified.
days? Was it 4
It's
days?
4 nights. Yeah.
4 nights. 5 days, 4 nights. Yeah.
Yeah. And
September?
he keeps adding all these famous people, but let's be honest, like All Things BMX is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
We'll be there.
We're gonna be.
Stompin' Stu Thompson.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he's gonna have. When is this? September.
Hollywood's emceeing it.
Oh, keep going, Melissa.
I have to look behind me.
Yeah. It's on the banner behind Melissa.
September 13th through the 17th, 2021, Royal Caribbean on the Independence of the Seas, Mighty Mo's BMX cruise to the Bahamas, featuring. Shoot, I don't know all these people. Oh yeah, Stompin' Stu Thompson,
Yeah.
Howard Cato.
and then it's being emceed by Mr. Hollywood himself, right?
Mike
Miranda.
Miranda.
Okay, well I got 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Well, you got 3 out of 3.
There you go.
And
Does it say at the bottom of that flyer it's you guys gonna be sailing on the SS Coronavirus?
it's
Well, it's a
you
year
know
from
what?
September.
it's a year from now, so
That'll be gone the 14th.
I'm pretty much thinking
And the
November-
election will be over.
I'm thinking
so.
November 4th. The whole Corona thing's done.
True. That depends.
It does.
It depends.
Yeah, you're right. That's another topic.
Yeah, and a whole nother show.
God damn.
Yeah.
Like we have another.
Tune over to
November
a different
6th will
show
be,
for that talk.
Asteroid impact.
Yeah, we got an asteroid we have to dodge. Exactly. But like we have another whole show. We have to bring George back for Decimal Gear too.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Yeah, we haven't even really dug into
No, we
that.
didn't get into it, so we'll have him back, and we're gonna go to birthdays now. So we got to wish some happy birthdays to some BMXicans. Taryn, he's not a BMXer, but I work with him.
Ah,
I'm trying to make him race
okay.
or ride.
Well-
Bob Sensible,
Hey, Bobby Moto Mag.
Bobby Moto Mag,
All
Eric
right.
Abadessa. Remember him?
No, not ringing a bell.
George
I'm sorry.
does.
Yep.
Eric Emmett.
Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm
Cock
with you.
diesel dude, man. Like,
Big dude.
yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
He didn't miss a day in the gym.
No.
No. Randy Jones. You know what bike shop he's from?
No, I'm sorry. That one doesn't ring a bell for me.
BTS. Happy birthday, Torin. Freight Train, happy birthday.
Hey, Freight Train. Happy birthday, buddy.
And your buddy, Mike Zott.
Who?
Mike Zott.
Oh, Mike Zott. Okay.
He owns a car dealership.
No, he doesn't. Zott?
Zott.
We're talking about 2 different people, dude.
No, we're not. We can say it, but like he owns. I mean, he.
Okay.
That's the name.
Okay, I thought
right.
it was 2 different people.
Hey, how about Emerson? Emerson
Yeah.
turned the big what?
That's our video.
7.
He turned 7. That's our video guy's nephew, right?
Yeah, Monday.
Hey,
Happy birthday, Em.
Emerson, congratulations, buddy. Hey, and you know what? Yesterday was my niece's birthday, so happy birthday, Kristen.
Sweet.
Like she's not going to ever hear this,
doubt it.
but anyway.
It's
She's
still
not
nice of you,
watching this
Chris.
shit show right now. I'm going to tell you that right now. Like, I only hope Mila's still hanging out at this point so she can hear us say happy birthday to Mila.
Oh, is it Mila's birthday?
Yeah.
All right.
What do you call her, Paul? The pilot.
The pilot.
Like, she's out jumping triples at the track.
So Mila
And if you're
Kelly?
40, and she's 16, you're 40, she's jumping triples.
You're not.
I'm not. It sucks, dude.
At least.
She was the only girl in
yet,
the
at
jump
least.
contest, too.
Right.
She was.
Yeah,
She
so-
did the jump
She
contest?
did.
Yeah, that was
She
cool.
did awesome.
Yeah, well, good. Happy birthday, Mila Kelly.
Nice job.
All right.
All right.
Moving along.
George,
Yeah.
we want to hand the microphone over to you. We want you to say who you want to say thanks to, and we appreciate your time joining us this evening.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for having me on, guys. I'd like to thank all of the customers and fans of Rennen, and my family, and my girlfriend Gina, who's super supportive. And yeah, it sucks that, with the current situation of things, really can't get out and see everybody as much as we would like. But, we're still here behind the scenes pumping out products for you guys. So
Great.
We
the order's coming.
What about website, Facebook, that type of thing?
Website is RennenDesignGroup.com, and on Facebook it's just Rennen Design, Instagram Rennen BMX.
Okay. So check all those out. Go like those pages. And if you're looking to purchase any of George's products, go to his website.
buy a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
How many gears do you have by him?
By him? Honestly, I don't think I have one.
Well,
but
you
I
suck.
keep checking them out. No, I got to find out about the decimal gearing in that.
He's like,
Jason put me on a decibel gear. What rate? What national were we at?
Indiana.
Indiana, and he put me on a
39.9.
39.9, and
You were running a 40 before.
I almost won.
I almost won.
I was a lot closer.
Okay.
No,
I'm
it was-
definitely
no,
going to
it
check
makes
it
a
out for
huge
sure.
difference. And I remember like a year ago, Harry
Yeah.
explaining the whole decimal gear thing because he works at Chrysler.
Oh, Harry Smith, right?
Oh yeah, dude. He wanted to. He tried to check the GOAT George.
Tried to check
He
him.
did. He did. He took like 5 gears and he took them into work there at Chrysler, and he's like, I put them on the table. I was like, I don't know what table. He's like, I put them on the table, and he's like, sons of bitches are round. I was like, okay.
Well, they're supposed to be.
They're supposed to be, right? And he's like,
Right.
yeah, no, they're round. I was like, okay. And he goes, and the decimal, it works. And that guy is like the harshest critic you'll ever meet in your whole life. Like he is, and that was him like, his product's good. I'm like, if that dude endorses it, I'm going to go buy him.
You know what's funny is when we came out with decimal gearing, very shortly afterwards, we got emails from a few various people, but one of them said, thank you for doing this. Now I don't have to sit there and file, 5 different sets
the
of gears.
teeth.
I feel that was,
Yeah, because there were people who figured it out, but they were doing it privately, and they could never create something that was bigger, like the 0.2s or 0.1s, but they could create things that were like 0.9s and 0.8s and 0.7s by filing the teeth. But
Oh my gosh.
that's a lot of work.
Plus
And,
getting them all.
You got to file in between
dude,
the
yeah.
teeth. Is that
You
what
got to
it
fight.
is?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, man.
Yeah, but to keep all the angle, the tooth and the. I'm not even
Consistency
going to go
going
there.
You wanna have your-
to need a mill
I mean,
tool.
You want to have your mind blown? Like George has an article up on like chain alignment with gearing,
Okay.
and
all right, I'm gonna
Go ahead.
You're gonna forget. Do you check these gears like
What
with
was
the
that?
lead and the involute and all that type of stuff, or is it
what
not
did you
that?
just say?
That's why I said you're gonna freak out.
You
when
just
I-
dismissed me, didn't you?
Yeah, I know.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Did we check that?
Go ahead, say it again.
It has all of that stuff designed in.
Into it. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
That's good enough. That's good enough. I don't want to go there right now. I'll end up getting
that's
over
your-
my head real quick here.
Well, we'll ask him to hang out so you guys can talk
Yeah,
afterwards.
yeah. That's better.
All right, so Melissa, we're gonna go over.
No, don't go back.
No, we have to go
No,
to
you're
your.
fine.
You have to go to your
No, you're
perch.
totally fine.
So we can do your trivia.
Because I threw my question out already.
No, it's your trivia question. Are you ready?
No, I mean, I literally threw it away.
Well, I hope you get your shit together. Here we go.
Oh,
Time
trivia
for
question.
Melissa's trivia.
It's time for Melissa's trivia question.
Bring it in, Alex Trebek.
I'm trying.
All right, here we go. All right. What do you got for him, Melissa?
Oh, just the usual prize pack.
What's in that prize pack, hon?
T-shirts.
We got some
I never
T-Bone
should have texted you
T-shirts
because
and
I
some
was all
heavy
done.
pedals and
Yeah, I got a
magazine.
swag bag and a Kebco hat and a T-Bone T-shirt, some stickers, usual stuff.
good stuff.
We have some Mandingo Pickles stickers.
I don't know if I have any
No,
of
I'll
those
get one.
left.
Now there's a whole bunch of them in there, so we'll throw it in there.
Oh, it is. No, I did have one.
Bracelets and all kinds of little goodies in there.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Okay, I would like to know what George's first job was.
Oh, wow.
So,
My
George,
first
don't answer that. Don't answer.
George. We're going to have him answer in our chat what your first job was.
He mentioned it very, very early on when we first started talking. So,
Love it.
all right. So, yeah, drop it in the chat.
Craig, you can't answer.
Craig's out.
Craig's out. So is Brandon.
I should have told him that this weekend. Oh, hey, while we're waiting, real quick, Rock City BMX held our state championship
in Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan State Championship race this Sunday, and hats off to those guys, man. Great race.
Good job.
It did a good job.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. A lot of folks had a great time. And they had these really cool trophies for the trophy of the day. They had these, looked like the big checks that the pros get for the big money open races.
Yeah,
They
there's
had
one
those.
of them around here somewhere, right?
Yeah, I think I saw it up. It's not down here.
Oh.
But they were really cool. They did a
Yeah, it was
great
a good-
job.
yeah.
You know, Tracy, Charlie, and their whole crew over there.
Well, when you contact BML for trophies, they
yeah.
always come up with like the coolest things.
Yeah, or like these cups.
There's your segue. Do we got a winner yet?
Nope.
No.
Sure not.
None of them are?
Nope.
Really?
Not even close.
Not
Really?
even close.
This is his first job as
First
a young
job.
man.
Oh, wow.
Oh, little
wait a minute.
Little clue.
I remember this. It was a video game.
Nope.
What?
Yeah, it was. Yes, it was. I'm going to put it in here.
Yeah, it was.
Yes, it was. Hey, and you remember the video game.
Yeah.
I don't.
Paul does too.
I have no clue.
Bunch of old men in this
Oh,
room.
God, we're... Yeah. Yeah, dude, it's so... Yeah. Oh, man, for sure.
But yeah,
Gee, and I,
but no, we had a great time over at Rock City. I'm just filling while we're waiting for the
you're
answer.
getting close, Billy, but I don't know that. I
Nope.
think some of those
Doesn't
are still
count.
grown-up
No,
jobs.
No.
No.
He wasn't a girl.
Yeah, that's the right answer, Justin.
That, yeah. Because I remember the video game.
So yeah,
Think younger guys.
Wow.
They're kind of stuck in
You've got
this.
a... Melissa's got a
maybe we need
stunner
to
this
maybe we
week,
need
man.
to let Craig answer the question.
No.
That's
I
it.
get the pack if I answer?
No, you don't. You're here. You can't.
No.
You got a hat.
Members of the. How do they say that? Like on all those fancy things, employees are
yeah.
not
Don't
eligible
qualify.
for the win.
Yeah,
Even though
exactly.
we're
Can
not
I say?
employed.
Can I tell you guys what grade I was in when I got this
Yes,
job?
absolutely.
Oh, Billy got it. But go ahead.
What do you guys? Okay, well let's poll the three of you. Guess what grade it was.
7th grade.
I would have
No,
said,
no, it was fifth grade.
I
It
would
was
have
fifth
said
grade.
5th grade.
Yeah.
I would say.
You
All
were-
right, I'm gonna go different. 6th.
You were like 11 or 12.
First.
What?
First.
God damn. You've been making money all your life.
Hustling, son.
I came home and asked my dad for an allowance because the other kids in school were telling me that they were getting money from their parents and it was called an allowance. And my parents are Portuguese, like from the Azores.
Straight up,
like,
yeah.
And my dad in his accent was like, "Yeah, you want money? I'll get you a job. Don't worry about it."
That's how it works. You want money? Here's
And
your job.
I did that job for 9 years straight.
Well, so,
Wow.
so Billy said to give it to second place,
I don't know who's second.
which would be Linda.
No. Is it Linda? Okay.
Yeah.
Linda. Okay.
All right. Well, congratulations, Linda.
And
So what?
for those that are wondering what he was doing, he had his own paper route.
Paper route.
He's a paper
Yeah.
boy.
He was Crew Jones.
Crew
I
Jones.
started off with 60 newspapers and I built it up to like 130 for 9 years.
You had that hustle.
Wow.
Whoa.
I delivered to a project.
That's awesome.
It was the nice projects though. It wasn't the bad projects. So.
Oh man! Hey, can we get you back on here in a couple weeks and talk about decimal
sure.
gearing, man?
No problem.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I tend to just ramble on, so I didn't even realize it was 10 o'clock. I'm sorry I took up all the time.
No worries.
No worries.
There's no sorry.
That's what this is about, man. We want to hear your story. We want to know about you, and we want everybody else out there to know.
Just hang out for a minute. We're gonna go off the air. Hang out in the Zoom room for a minute. There'll be some people that want to come in and ask some questions. So we'll talk. Everybody, thank you for joining us this evening, Chris.
Sure. All right. Again, thank you, George. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out in the chat tonight. Make sure you follow us on Facebook. Subscribe to YouTube. Also, we are on Periscope, Twitter. So check us out there as well. You can check out the podcast version of the show over on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Buzzsprout. If you have any information you want to share with the show, please email us at allthingsbmxshow@gmail.com. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great night, and God bless everybody.
Good night.